Recently, we've been looking at really expensive cards in the Scarlet and Violet era and Sword and Shield, but what about great cards to pick up for under $10? And then there are a bunch of different cards from both the Sword and Shield era and the Scarlet and Violet era, which are just really good pickups for under $10. Now, some of these also can get a good return when graded well. That's one thing to consider. But these are just really good pickups, which I think down the line, they have real potential growth. So let's jump in. Starting things off, we are looking at the Zora V-Star. Now, this one's from Crown Zenith. Crown Zenith, big fan favorite set. And there are some incredible cards that you can find in this set as well, which is always good to see, right? And I think Crown Zenith does have a huge amount of cards, which I think are going to be very, very good in the long haul. Starting things off, we have the Pikachu Secret Rare from Crown Zenith. Now, Crown Zenith has some incredible cards, especially under that $10 range. And this is just a fantastic card. It really is. I mean, when it came out, it was like silly high, like insanely high. And they found out actually the pull rate's pretty easy, and it was quite easy to get this Secret Rare Pikachu. Now, right now, you're looking around about $8 on eBay and TCG Player. In a PSA 10, $55, that's pretty good. There's a lot greater in a 10 though, over 12,000. So keep that one in mind. So we look at the graded price of this card. It is up on the 6-month period, right? Over the past 6 months, we're looking at $55 now. It started at around $40, so it has gone up. It did go down from its all-time high, which sat around nearly $70. So it's come down a little bit in a 10, which is fine. But then when we look at the raw card price, the raw card price is pretty cheap. The average market price of this is around $8. It was actually above that $10 range not too long ago, and it's pretty much where it once was 6 months ago. And with TCG Player, which is the orange, it did actually go below the average market price. I mean, when it was at its highest, it did actually go above that. I mean, at one point it was $13 on TCG Player at the high point. So it does have that potential room to grow. I'm not talking about this card going to be booming like crazy, but it is still a really good card if you don't have this one from a set like Crown Zenith to pick up right now. Next, we're going to Scarlet and Violet base, and we're looking at the Riolu illustration rare. Now, there's going to be quite a few illustration rares in this list, mainly because illustration rares are actually really good cards to pick up. They really are, and a lot of them have been pushing quite a lot in this Scarlet and Violet era, so keep that in mind. When we look at Scarlet and Violet base, not the best set, but there is a lot of power in a lot of the illustration rares in this set, and this is definitely one of them. $9 on eBay, roughly $9 on TCG Player, $100 in a PSA 10. Just under 200 in a 10. It's going to be quite tricky to get it in a 10. That's why it's holding such good value. I mean, even over the past 6 months, it's doing really well, right? It was around $60, $70 in a PSA 10, and we're now looking at 110. At one point, it was about $130 in a 10, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. But when we look at the raw price of this card, it has been climbing. So, you know, the average market price in TCG Player have kind of been close, but then kind of broke away from each other a little bit, and have now ended up pretty level, which is quite good. So $9, it is up from $5 to $6 6 months ago, which is pretty good. I mean, its all-time average market high was around $10 to $11. So yeah, just gotten under the 10 range, which is what we're looking at. Great card to pick up. If you can get in a 10, again, pretty good. Scarlet and Violet base is pretty easy to get hold of. It's quite cheap as well. The pull rates are quite tough to try and get all of these illustration rares because there's quite a lot. So yeah, picking this up for under $10 is going to be a good one. We're going back to Crown Zenith now, and we're looking at the Mew Galarian Gallery card. One of my favorite cards in the set. I remember seeing this and I was like, this is an incredible looking card. And it's, you know, big fan favorite. Mew is, of course, a really popular Pokemon, and that helps it a lot. So let's take a look at this. We're looking at about $7 on eBay, about $6 on TCG Player, $70 in a PSA 10, so it's 10 times the value in a 10, which is actually quite impressive for a Sword and Shield era card. And as you can see, you know, it is up on the 6 months in a PSA 10. Its all-time high was around $80 or nearly $90, so it's come down a little bit, but it's doing relatively well. And then when we take a look at the raw card price of this one, it has been dipping in and out of that $6 to $7 range over the past 6 months. The difference in price between TCG Player and the average market is quite a bit of a difference, but have kind of closed out recently, right? We're looking around about $6 to $7 for this one, and it's been very, very consistent. Very strong card to get in a 10. For it to be 10 times the value is really good, and it's a big fan favorite. And again, same thing, Crown Zenith is getting more expensive, packs are getting more expensive, it's getting harder and harder to find. So keep that in mind when we're looking at Sword and Shield era cards, especially a card like the Mew. Next up, we're looking at the Cleffa from Obsidian Flames, another illustration rare, a really good one to look at picking up. There's quite a few good illustration rares in Obsidian Flames. We got the Ninetales, just slightly over that $10 range. When we look at the Cleffa, it is going to be a pretty good one. I mean, it's beautiful artwork as well. We're looking at $7 on eBay, nearly $8 on TCG Player. And then again, $100 big money card in a PSA 10, more than 10 times the value, which is just crazy. So let's take a look at this one. PSA 10, it was around $60. We're now pushing around 100, which is very, very strong. And if we take a look at the raw card price, it's pretty much level, a little bit up over the past 6 months, but it's been very consistent. TCG Player and the average market price has been bouncing around each other. Nothing super crazy and unusual, but yeah, up a couple of dollars over the past 6 months, which is cool, which is what we're looking at. But it's that graded price really does it for me. Obsidian Flames is actually getting more expensive. It's probably not going to be reprinted anytime soon. So yeah, Obsidian Flames is an interesting one. Not many people open up this set that much anymore, mainly because it is a small set. You do get quite easy pull rates, but the fact that this can hold such good value, in a graded 10, but not only that, gaining value as well in a raw price, it's very good. Next, we have Chansey from Twilight Masquerade. Pretty close to $10. You could argue that it's not quite $10, especially on TCG Player, but roughly around that. In a PSA 10, it's $52, so it has dropped quite a bit in a PSA 10, but it is still a really cool card to get. Twilight Masquerade already is getting really expensive. The set is not even 6 months old, and we're starting to see booster packs and booster boxes going up. And not only that, some of the big chase cards in the set are already shifting upwards to reach new highs. I expect Chansey to do the same in the future. It is one of the most expensive illustration rares in the set, and it's a pretty sweet one indeed. I mean, yes, it has dropped over the past 6 months in the PSA 10, sitting around that $52, where it was $140 nearly. Okay, it has dropped a bit, but it has that chance to bounce back, even as a raw price, right? Raw price has been falling, makes it a good card to pick up, right? When a card has been dropping like this, it means it's a good time to pick it up. So we're looking at around $10 right now, which is the lowest it's been in the past 6 months. The average market price was around $20. I mean, even TCG Player went up to close to $20 at one point, but both the market price and TCG Player price has been falling. If you can get this for under $10, it's a pretty good one. Moving on to Stellar Crown, one of the most recent sets that have come out. We're looking at the Zora. Again, another illustration rare. Like I said, there's a lot of good illustration rares coming in today's list. This one is pretty cheap, right? $7 on eBay, $5 on TCG Player. PSA 10, $113. That is crazy. In a 9, it's only $15. So it's crazy value in a PSA 10. And when we look at that PSA 10, it has fallen from 130 basically. So it's fallen a little bit. I expect it to probably fall over time because the set is relatively new, but that's still very good going. And then we're looking at this, right? Again, the average card price, raw price, has been falling. TCG Player a little bit different than the average market price, but it is the cheapest it is that it's been, right? We go back, we look at the average market price being at around $16. I do expect this card to bounce back over time. Don't forget Stellar Crown is so new, so expect a lot of the single card prices to fall. But the artwork is absolutely amazing. I know people absolutely love this, and it fetches a very nice amount of money in a PSA 10, which is a good thing. All right, looking at Temporal Forces now. It's been a while since we looked at Temporal Forces. Temporal Forces, Litten is coming in next. eBay, around $7. TCG Player, nearly $8. We're looking at about $45 to $50 in a PSA 10. It has been falling in a PSA 10. There's a reason why I've chosen this one. This one's a bit of an interesting take. A lot of people love cats. A lot of people love Litten. I think the artwork is absolutely adorable. And every single time that we've opened this card, like from a pack on stream, so many people like, this card looks absolutely amazing, or this card is one of my favorite illustration rares from the set. And that's interesting because it is a cheap card, and it fetches it an okay price in a PSA 10. But to me, if a lot of people really like this card, again, pull rates aren't the easiest in Temporal, it does have that potential. So yeah, in a PSA 10, it has dropped nearly 50%, so not the best in a PSA 10. But the raw price is actually ticking upwards. We've seen it sit around that $4 to $5, and it is slowly shifting, with the TCG Player just slightly going above the average market price. So it's been kind of leveling out across the board from TCG Player to the average market price. Really cool card. Temporal, again, tough pull rates. Our booster boxes are trickling upwards as well, so keep that in mind. But yeah, really cool card, mainly because it's just had a lot of excitement when people see and pull this card. Right, we're going back to Twilight Masquerade now, and we have the Infernape, another really cool illustration rare. Again, this is a card which has had a lot of talk, a lot of buzz going on about it, and this is a pretty sweet one, right? We're looking at $8 on eBay, $7 on TCG Player. PSA 10, $50, okay, not the best, has been falling, but this again is another card similar to the reason for the Litten. When we pull it in the packs in Twilight Masquerade, so many people are like, this is awesome. This is such a cool card. It's one of my favorite cards. I love the artwork. So if it has that buzz around it, that's really going to help. So yeah, over in a PSA 10, $50 was an all-time high around 160. So it has fallen quite a bit. A lot of people getting it graded. And we look at the average market price for it raw, it is starting to bounce back somewhat to where it has fallen. I mean, at one point, pre-release prices, we're looking around about $15 for this card. And it's been pretty neck and neck between the average price and on TCG Player. But it has been doing well. It is up on the 6 months, which is pretty good. And I do expect this to climb, especially with the amount of people that love Twilight Masquerade and how expensive it's getting. Again, big illustration rare, yet to grow and really see some good growth. And I think it will be for the long term. But a really cool card that you can get for under $10. Next, we got a promo card. It is the Kingdra EX. This one is from Shroud of Fable. There was 2 collection boxes. One had a Greninja, one had the Kingdra. I think both of them are amazing. Greninja's a little bit more expensive, but the Kingdra is under $10. Well, about $10 on eBay, but under $10 on TCG Player. I think this is going to be a good one. $72 in a PSA 10. I mean, you can pick up the collection boxes that have this for about $25, give or take, depending on where you shop. But it has fallen in the graded price, and even in the raw price as well. The set is relatively new, so I do expect this card to fall. We have seen some promo cards in collection boxes, especially in the Sword and Shield era, that have done very well, especially if people really like the artwork, and it's the only way you can really get hold of this, which is from Shroud of Fable collection boxes. Now here's the thing, Shroud of Fable, not a huge amount of people were jumping in on that set, so I think that might help it in the future. And again, like I said, we've seen strong promos perform, especially in the Scarlet and Violet era so far. We have seen Pokemon Center promos perform very well. So this one I think is going to be a good one. Again, fetches a pretty good graded price tag. Over the past 6 months, yes, it has gone down. I mean, the set's not even 6 months old, but it is still a relatively awesome card to get, and it's under $10. And then finally today, we have the Charmander ETB promo from Obsidian Flames. So on eBay, it is over that $10 range, but on TCG Player, it's just slightly under $10. Keep that in mind. Now, we've seen the Pokemon Center promo of this climb like crazy. It is being absolutely crazy. And on top of that, this is growing. I mean, take a look at this, right? PSA 10, $154. That's crazy. Just for an Obsidian Flames ETB promo. It's weird, right? Obsidian Flames, as far as like the main set goes, not the best. Everyone's loving this Charmander promo. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, we've seen the Bulbasaur and the Squirrel in this same art style to go together in Stellar Crown as actual cards, but this one came out way, early, and is a promo, and it's been doing well. Normally ETBs or regular ETB promos don't tend to fetch a really strong price point, but this one is one of the best performing ones that we've seen, and it's climbed over the past 6 months from PSA 10. It's just like tripled in value, which is crazy. Now when we look at the raw price, again, we've seen a real big climb. This card was sat around about $4 or $5. And now look at it, the average market price is over that $10 range, nearly tripled in value. But then also the TCG Player has gone up as well. So the card is just slightly under $10. So now's a really good time to pick up this Charmander. Beautiful card. There is a lot of it around because it's just in regular ETBs. Really good one. So there you have it, guys. Those are 10 amazing cards that you can pick up right now for under $10. And I say, it's some really good ones. That Charmander, though, from Obsidian Flames is absolutely crushing it. I did have a look at 151 and seeing what cards are in 151 that's under $10. And what's crazy is there's a lot of cards in the set that are over $10. So yeah, I mean, that set's just doing really well anyway. But yeah, illustration rares in Scarlet and Violet, hidden treasures in my opinion. They're so good right now, and I do think they're going to fetch a really good price point and have that chance to grow. And they're already doing well in the PSA 10 graded range, so keep that one in mind. But there are some amazing cards on this list. But if you made this far into the video and you've enjoyed it, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe for more Pokemon content, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Is there any other cards that you would add to this? Which one is your favorite? Like I say, for me, I'm probably going to have to go with, I think the Litten is very nice, but if I had to choose, it's going to have to be the Mew from Crown Zenith. I absolutely love that card. I loved it when it came out, and I still love it now. But that is it from me, guys, in today's video. If you want more Pokemon content, make sure to click the video on the screen, and of course make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I want to say a massive thank you to you guys. As always, you guys are the legends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.